Yo, 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 the Big D is raring and ready to go as I discuss the NFC West on the Big D podcast. Before I tell you all things 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. See all my content, see all my streams, see all my episodes of the Big D podcast. And speaking of the Big D podcast, for your audio listeners, check us out on Spotify and Apple. But we try and provide you with all kinds of events, whether it be football, golf, MMA. We've got all kinds of major events here. So obviously the NFC West. I mean, typically this division's been one of the hardest, not just to predict, but see these teams flat don't like each other. You've got coaches, quarterbacks, and now we've got intrigue and a few questions. Starting in the Bay Area, the San Francisco 49ers have won the last two NFC West titles. This is a team that's been at least in the NFC Championship game for the last 5 years, couple Super Bowls. And in both those Super Bowls, the 49ers lost the lead to the Kansas City Chiefs. So everybody's going to say, is Kyle Shanahan a good coach? Or is he a choke artist? Because remember the Super Bowl he and the Falcons lost when Atlanta was up 28-3. I think Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, but Atlanta now San Francisco face Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, face the GOAT and now the current GOAT. So it's one thing if you have Peyton Manning, it's another thing if you have an average or probably below average quarterback against two of the games back. But the question with San Francisco is simple. Is this run over? Because this 49 team's getting up there in age. It's not the youngest team we've ever seen. I mean, yeah, Brock Purdy is still fairly young, but there are a lot of other questions about this team. Trent Williams, 37, 38. Christian McCaffrey led the NFL in touch last year and then added a bunch more in the playoffs. George Kittle's getting up in age. Deebo Samuel's always dealing with nooks and cranks. And maybe the biggest question with San Francisco offense, will the 49ers end up trading Brandon Ayuk? Because Brandon Ayuk wants a contract like, I'm going to say Jalen Brown. Excuse me, not Jalen Brown. Jalen Waddle. Devontae Smith. Will the 49ers give him a big deal? Because I would expect the Niners give Brock Purdy a deal in another year or two. So can the Niners give Brandon Ayuk contracts? Because Trent Williams on a big deal. George Kittle, Debo, Christian McCaffrey re-up the deal. And then defensively, Nick Bosa. So, and then defensively for the Niners, how will the San Francisco's defense replace Drake Greenlaw coming off a torn Achilles? So, I mean, I felt like last year was San Francisco's best opportunity to win a Super Bowl because Burrow, Lawrence, and a couple of the quarterbacks are hurt. The Chiefs hadn't figured out the wide receiver situation, and for how good Baltimore was, Lamar Jackson's playoff history is very hit or miss. Plus, you look at the NFC, the Lions and Packers weren't ready. The Rams probably a year away, and then Philly was bad, and then Dallas just capitulated against the Packers. So, is San Francisco's control for this division over? I I see some changes. I mean, I think the age will catch up to San Francisco. The Niners won't be the same health wise. I mean, seemingly there's always a Super Bowl jinx with the loser, don't have a full season to recover, always have more injuries, and the focus is never quite the same. Plus, the teams a year older. While that might be okay if you're the Lions, San Francisco's probably feels like they went this close to a Super Bowl but couldn't get over the hump. And so I mean, San Francisco's been the four of the last five championship Sundays. But will the 49ers ever win another Super Bowl? Especially with this team? I don't know. I mean, it's now or never for San Francisco. You know. How good is Brock Purdy? I think Brock Purdy is an average to slightly below average quarterback physically, but Kyle Shanahan gets the most out of him. Really, Brock Purdy's not a guy. Doesn't have a big home, doesn't have a whole lot of mobility, but he's really smart and accurate. And Kyle Shanahan only only wants a really smart, somewhat athletic quarterback. He doesn't want a quarterback who will run around like Anthony Richardson or Lamar. Brock Purdy's perfect because he's athletic, but he'll play within the framework of the offense. That means San Francisco runs the ball 45 times. So what? If that means Brock Purdy throws the screens to Christian McCaffrey, finds Kittle, finds Depot, or maybe finds deep pass for Brian Ayuk, that's fine. But Brock Purdy may be the perfect quarterback. Is Brock Purdy? I mean, people say is Brock Purdy better than Trevor Lawrence? Of course not. Is he better than like me? No, no more. Lamar Jackson? Of course not. But Brock Purdy works with San Francisco. Now, I don't think Brock Purdy will work with the New England Patriots because they don't have a top five head coach and all that talent around him. But I mean, can Brock Purdy win a Super Bowl? Well, he almost did last year, not for the Mahomes guy, that Mahomes guy. And then B, it's Christian McCaffrey Cook. By the way, congratulations to you, Christian McCaffrey and Olivia Culpo on your wonderful wedding. But even though Christian McCaffrey's the best running back in football, one of the top probably 4 or 5 running backs I can remember, I'm beginning to wonder if we saw the best in McCaffrey. He led the NFL in touches last year. He's been really healthy after a couple injury years. Then his Carolina and start his Carolina stint. So you wonder if McCaffrey can stay healthy. B, you wonder how a running back, especially with all the wear and tear, will recover because we've seen running backs not be quite the same after a huge workload. Ezekiel Elliott was never the same running back after the Cowboys flat abused him early in his career. Saquon Barkley hasn't necessarily been the same. DeMarco Murray never lived up to the contract in Philadelphia. Derrick Henry may be an exception, but he is a king after all. And then maybe the biggest question, what would the 49ers do with Brandon Ayuk? I don't think the 49ers can keep everybody. I mean, I think the 49ers will go for it this year, and then we'll see what happens. Could they franchise Brandon Ayuk? But guess what? Might get $30 million anyway. So, and then but Debo feels like he's more versatile than the offense. Even though Brandon Ayuk's a true receiver, Debo could play as a wildcat quarterback. He could be a running back, an H-back, a wide receiver. You could put him in like 5 different positions. Brandon Ayuk's a really good wide receiver, but is he as versatile as Debo? Probably not. And then you look at it, I don't really want my wide receivers as divas. I'm on Ross St. Brown's not really a true diva wide receiver. He just He's just the best slot receiver in the NFL. Right now, you starting to act more like a diva. And I don't think that goes well with San Francisco. That's a veteran team. They really don't want guys to know. So, I mean, if IU goes, where would he go? I mean, Pittsburgh, Washington, Buffalo, New England. I don't think New England would be a great fit, but it might help Drake May. Chargers, but Jim Harbaugh's not going to trade for playing at IU. And then, I mean, who would replace? I mean, the Niners are okay with Ricky Pearsall, rookie from Florida, Jawan Jennings, and Jacob Cowan. So the Niners have got options. But it would be interesting if the Niners trade Brandon Ayuk now rather than in draft time because the Niners can't necessarily have an adequate replacement for him. So that's always a question mark. So is San Francisco reign over? Maybe, but you know, could this be the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end? I mean, we'll see. Now to LA with the Rams. And by the way, I can't. Wait. Maybe the biggest news from the Rams was the retirement of Aaron Donald. Maybe the best interior defensive player I've seen. Reggie White's to me is the best interior defensive lineman in NFL history. Aaron Donald might be a close second. I've seen games where teams would double or triple team and he's making plays. I mean, Aaron Donald was so good. I mean, in the Super Bowl, Aaron Donald ate the Cincinnati Bengal O-line for lunch. Was so amazing seeing Donald. Didn't matter how many guys you put on. It was like boop, 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 boop. Causing havoc every single play. This guy's one of the finest defensive players in NFL history. And now the Rams are going to have to replace him. Now, maybe the Rams knew, maybe the Rams didn't know. I would have to think the Rams knew Aaron Donald would likely retire. Is there a chance he comes back? We'll see. But the Rams added a pass rusher, edge guy, Jared Verse from Florida State, and then defensive lineman Braden Fisk from Florida State. So the Rams are young, but I think that group could really come on strong toward the latter half of the year. Yeah. And then offensively, is Matthew Stafford old? Is he hurt? I don't know if Matthew Stafford's old. I mean, he is for age, but not necessarily quarterbacks. I mean, Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls at 40, and I mean, Stafford's never been an athletic guy, but that arm is still there. And we saw what Stafford did in 2023, and Matthew Stafford looked just fine to me. And the Rams surprised everybody. Puka Nacua setting all kinds of breaking all the rookie records. Cooper Kupp, especially when he was healthy, looking good. Kieran Williams looking great now. Kieran's not been completely healthy this offseason, so we'll see. Plus, the Rams drafted Blake Corum, so will he make an inroad there? Defensively, it's a young defense, but it should be a fast, fun defense, especially the second half of the year. Look out. Now for the Seahawks. Changes in Seattle. No Pete Carroll. For the first time in forever, there's a new head coach in Seattle. Going as Pete Carroll. Mike McDonald. Is now what? One of not the youngest coach. Now one of not the youngest coach in the NFL. Sorry, Sean McVay, you're not the youngest coach anymore. But, I'm a little confused why Seattle hired another defensive-minded coach because I feel like the Seahawks need a more offensive-minded coach. But, I mean, Mike McDonald, some great things with the Ravens ball. I mean, and obviously with Seattle, there's a lot I like about the team. Like the running backs, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Love the wide receivers with DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jake and Tyler Lockett. But for some reason, Seattle's offensive line was never great. Now, part of it was Pete Carroll's defensive minded head coach. So, guess what defensive minded coaches never do? Get right the offensive line. And for some reason, Seattle's pass rush was bad last year. And that's an issue. That can't happen, especially in the division with Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford, and Kyler. You've got to get after the quarterback because guess what? If you have those cheap sacks on third down, your defense is off the field and your offense on the field. And then secondly, what Geno Smith do we get this year? You know, do we get the 2022 Geno Pro Bowler leading the Seahawks to the playoffs? I'm going all permanent. We're talking playoffs. Or do we get maybe a Geno Smith or maybe a journeyman Geno? I think it's somewhere in between. I mean, I think JSN will be healthier this year. I like him. JSN this year. DK Metcalf's always a big play. Tyler Lockett's a security blanket. I think Noah Fant's a sneaky good tight end. Running backs, but I mean, Seattle feels like they're going to be right around 500. I mean, Seahawks, good year for them might be 9-8, 10-7. Bad year for them would be what 7-10, 8-9. Seattle's going to be right in that mix of teams. You know, Minnesota, some of these teams. You know, maybe Washington bound for the last playoff spot. I don't think Seattle will be great, but I think Seattle will be okay. The team that might have the widest range of expectations this year is Arizona. And there's a lot I like. Kyler Murray feels unique. When Kyler in the NFL, he felt small, but he felt athletic, capable of making plays, capable of pinball wizardry. And I feel like Kyler has not lived up to the contract necessarily, but this might be his best situation. Same head coach. He's come for the first time in a while. He's not rehabbing a major injury. He's getting in shape. And I think Kyler's in the right frame. You know, he's got the contract. And I mean, what Kyler did when he came back off the knee injury showed me what he's capable of doing. I mean, yeah, he only started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, but he threw for 1,800 yards, completed 66% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, with a 90 passer rate. And there were some good moments. I mean, he beat the Eagles on New Year's Eve. He beat the Steelers, beat the Falcons, and even some of the losses. I mean, that Houston. I mean, pick here. There were some good moments from Kyler. I think there's a lot to look forward to this year. I feel like, and I mean, the last 2 games against Seattle and Philly, 110, 116 passing rate. So the talent is there. And I feel like with Kyler, it's him not just playing confident, but getting the right frame of mind. You know, and Arizona has not been the best in terms of drafting or surrounding Kyler with the right talent. But now I feel like that's going a different way. The Cardinals drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. in the number 4 pick. So he's got the best wide receiver to come in the NFL in a long time. Trey McBride's a young, emerging tight end. So I feel like Arizona's offense is one I'm excited to see. If you're in best ball like me, I'd recommend getting some Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, Martin Anderson Jr. stacks because those guys are going to put up some points this year. I think Arizona, there's always a surprise team every year. Nobody had Houston winning the AFC South in 23, Jackson winning the AFC South in 22. Who's going to be that team this year? Not saying Arizona's going to win the NFC West, but could Arizona go from nowhere to 8-9 wins? I don't think it's out of the question. And even though John Gannon's a defense mind coach, I like the way Arizona play. And for a team that wasn't very good, all you can say is how hard the guys played for. Well, seemingly every Sunday the Cardinals played hard for them, so that's all you want as a young coach. So, will Arizona be flying this year? I think Arizona will be flying if Kyler Murray plays all 17 games. So, ultimately, I've got a change in the NFC West. I think the LA Rams unseat the San Francisco 49ers and win the division. I think San Francisco's age catches up to the Niners and give me the best coach, best quarterback, and maybe the most interesting duo wide receivers in the division. Give me Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. The LA Rams win the NFC West. Statement made. Yes, the Rams win the division. And then watch San Francisco win by 8 games. I look like a moron. But it's different hosts. It's different hosting a podcast by myself, but it's fun. I get to have discussions over whether or not scenarios will take place in every division, and I see some take place in the NFC West. So, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Big D Podcast. I look at division number 2. We'll be back with more AFC Souths right around the corner. So, Jack's up next, and we'll see you later.